واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا طيبا اللهم اهدي قلبي وسدد لساني واسلل سخيمة قلبي آمين يا رب العالمين. So today's topic, and also on the flyer if you saw, was about the trials and tribulations in the life of Musa alayhi salam and the plan of Allah. And I mean, it was fitting to choose this also because what's happening in the world, but also on the individual level, each one of us are going to different aspects of our life. And a lot of us, we feel that why like we will see, if you look back in your life, you'll see a lot of changes have taken place in your life. And we're here at, even at this point, some of us might be struggling. Some of us might not like how the things are going, or some of us might be okay with how things are going. So why we are here, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings a servant to the point that they're at. And the best examples, so of course the life, so of course do you want to, the lives of the prophets are a best example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plans and shows his divine plan through different prophets if you look at their life. And here especially the life of Musa alayhi salam, because it's firstly he's the most mentioned prophet in the Quran, like about 136 times or so he's mentioned in different chapters or surahs of the Quran. So, and there is a real, there are so many ups and downs. It's a very catchy story of Musa alayhi salam, like the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, right? So about Musa alayhi salam, the one story, one surah that tells, so he's mentioned in different surahs, right? Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Araf, Surah Shura, Surah Al-Qasas. So many surahs. Even, different Surah Al-Abasa, parts of it. But in Surah Al-Qasas, so Qasas means a story, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us a story. So the story of Musa alayhi salam is mentioned in a chronological order, the way everything happened in his life. Right? So we will go right into the story of Musa alayhi salam through the ayat of Surah Al-Qasas. So the first part of Surah Al-Qasas talks about the pretty much, from the birth until he meets Pharaoh, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Qasas, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Natlu alayka min naba'il Musa wa Fir'auna bil haqq. We narrate to you the story of Musa and Pharaoh in the truth for the people the people who would like to believe. So what was the context? What was happening in Egypt when Musa alayhi salam came, when he was born? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paints a picture of the political and the social life at the time of Pharaoh. So what was happening? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Fir'auna ala fil ardi وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيَعًا. So what did he do? He had divided the land, and he had divided groups in the land. And what was happening? يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً. He had made some groups weak on purpose. He made groups weak on purpose, because if you make people weak, you can easily rule over them. And who were the groups that were made weak? This was the Bani Israel. So these were the servant or the slave nation. So he had enslaved them. Okay, and if you look at Egypt at that time, there are two major groups: the Egyptians, the Coptics, and then they were the Bani Israel. And Bani Israel were treated as the outsiders in Egypt. And what would he do? يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَهُم. He would kill their sons. وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَهُم. And he will keep the women alive. And why would he do that? Because as you would know, Pharaoh had a dream, okay, that someone from the Bani Israel, a child from the Bani Israel, killed him or took over his kingdom and killed him. And of course, Pharaoh, being Pharaoh, he was a tyrant king, he could not let that happen. So what he did was, he first started killing all the sons that were being born into the Bani Israel. Then he realized, well, if I kill all the sons all the time, then I'm not going to have anyone to serve me. So what he did, then he decided that he would 1 year keep the sons alive, and the next year kill the sons. So if Musa alayhi salam's brother Harun alayhi salam was born in the year when he kept the sons alive, and Musa alayhi salam was born in the year when Firaun was killing the sons, the babies at that time. So this is so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan. Why was Harun born in that year? And so we're looking at this in the lens of the divine plan of Allah, right? So the plan, and it's so cool. Like if you look at it, okay, like if Musa alayhi salam could have been born in the year when he kept all the sons alive. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there was a bigger plan for Musa. He had to get to the palace of Firaun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us why was Musa born? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Nuridu an namunna ala alladhina ustud'ifu. It was our will, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, that to favor those who were oppressed in the land. Okay? وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. So he wanted to make Bani Israel stronger. He wanted to bring them on the top. And they were no one could imagine that such an enslaved nation had to take over and come to power. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he brought a servant of his, Musa born in a year when they were killing all the children, and then for his divine plan, okay, to work, as you will see. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humul warithina. So he wanted to make these people the inheritors of the land, to take over the land of Egypt. Okay, so what happened as they were killing the babies, okay, and Musa alayhi salam was just a baby, and as you know from the story, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ Musa. So to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he inspired in the heart of the mother of Musa alayhi salam. What was the inspiration in her heart? To continue feeding the baby. Of course, one of the main things to continue feeding the baby is that when the baby is being fed, what is the baby not going to do? Make sound, right? So the baby would not make sound. And when the soldiers came to kill, they wouldn't know there is a baby, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planned an ardi'ihi, to continue breastfeeding so the mother kept, it was, how, and how did she get to know? Some people say it's through an angel, or some people say it's just, you get a feeling in your heart that I should continue feeding my baby. So she continued feeding the baby, and then after that, okay, she can't do it forever. So the next thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in her heart is خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. To throw her, to put the son in a basket and put him in the river. Now this is something that is no ordinary person is going to do that. The thought is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And while this was happening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in her heart, وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي. Do not be scared, do not fear, do not grieve. Of course, for a mother to do this to a child, and Yam is not a regular lake, it's a heavy flowing river Nile. And if you know, River Nile is full of crocodiles too, and full of animals and whatnot. So imagine a mother doing something like that. That requires too much courage, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when he did that for Musa alayhi salam, what did he do to the mother? He put, وَأَصْبَحَ فُؤَادُ أُمِّ مُوسَى. Allah held the heart. Have you heard the word qalb? Right? Qalb is heart. And then there's fu'ad, which is also heart. But what's the difference? Fu'ad is a heart that is in too much emotions. Like if Allah did not hold the heart of Musa alayhi salam's mother, and she had put her baby, she would have screamed out loud, my baby, and then what would have happened? The soldiers would have gotten to know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala held the heart of Musa alayhi salam's mother, Fu'ad, it's the heart full of emotions. So he held it, and Allah says, Lawla and Rabatna. Rabata is like a rope tied. It was like the heart was tied. And even she could not have imagined that, I did such a thing. Okay. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused this basket to flow towards the direction of the palace of Firaun. Okay. And then we look at the wisdom of the people that Allah surrounded around Musa alayhi salam. So the mother was wise, right? The mother was a believing woman. of course. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always helps the people who are, who put their trust in Allah, even in the most difficult. This is a very difficult situation. So this mother was very wise. So what did she say to the daughter? Her, Musa Islam had other siblings. So she said, قالت لأخته, she said to his brother, to his sister, okay, follow them. So keep following the basket. So she was behind, keeping a track, like hiding behind the bushes or something near and following that. Okay. And then what happened as the baby came to the reached the palace, whose eyes fell on the baby? The wife, Asya alayhi salam, the wife of Firaun. Okay, and then Firaun and his wife were complete opposites. Complete opposites. In fact, he's the worst man till date, until the end of times, to ever walk on this earth. And she's one of the best four women the Prophet ﷺ named. Okay, so this is the combination that was there. So once this reached, okay, the wife of Firaun, okay, she said to Firaun, Qurratu ayunin. This is going to be like coolness. The thing about Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Musa alayhi salam that there was something about him as a baby, right? In Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي. Allah put love for Musa in people's heart. So whenever people would look at Musa alayhi salam, especially as a baby, they just fall in love. So here, the wife of Firaun, she immediately fell in love, and it was such a cute, innocent baby. And it was obvious that he is not a Coptic. He's not from there, because the Bani Israel, even physically, looked different. Even physically, they had a different complexion, different skin color. Firaun was aware that he is not from us. And he could have been the boy to demolish one day the kingdom of Firaun. But there was something in him. Of course, this is Allah's plan. And also, the cute little baby Musa, when anyone looked at him, even Firaun, he held himself. He could be like, no, I don't want him, take him out. Or, the kind of personality that he had. And he was not, and in fact, he was not even merciful to his own wife. It's not like he loved his wife and everything, because we know that, because what did he do to his wife in the end? He killed her brutally, right? But at that moment, just looking at Musa, Allah, it just took over. Even he could not. So he's like, yeah, okay, sure. In fact, some of the narrations say that she said that, oh, he'll be a coolness of our eyes. And he said to her, yes, your eyes, not my eyes. But, so that's the kind of personality that he had. But still, Musa alayhi salam. So here, when we pause here and look at the whole play of the story. Okay, so subhanallah. And then what happened after that? وَحَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِ الْمَرَضِيعَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. So any maradia means a wet nurse, like the one who would feed. So when there's baby Musa alayhi salam rejected all women. And because daughter was following, if you remember, the daughter was following, so she went into the castle and be like, oh, I know of a woman, maybe you can try her. And of course, again, smart mother, gave birth to a smart daughter and wise daughter. So she said, without even giving a hint, this is the real mother. She was that imagined child, So see the training. It's a good family that he comes from. So she's like, I know of some woman whom, I'll suggest another wet nurse. Maybe perhaps, try her. And of course, that was the biological mother. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, two things are happening at the same time. One thing is that he's been returned to his family, and also is becoming a part of another family. So he's living two lives, right? He's being a part, he's going back to his biological mother to be fed. And in fact, in some of the narrations, it's not mentioned in the Quran, but from other sources, it is said that they asked the mother of Musa alayhi salam to come to the castle, come to the palace and feed the baby. But she said, I have other kids. How about I take him? And, he'll keep coming back and forth. So this way, he got two trainings. One was the tarbiyah, the training from the mother, the righteous mother. And other was learning the ways of the kings, the ways of the palace, right? So he got trainings of both. Imagine only if he stayed at the palace, how corrupt were the people there. Yes, there was Asiya alayhi salam, but there was so much corruption happening. They're bad. So he learned all the deen, from his mother, from his family, but at the same time learned the speech, learned the mannerisms, learned the etiquettes of kings. So because Allah has a plan for him later on, and you all know the story of Musa alayhi salam. So, but this is the plan. Allah is training. So he's keeping him close to his own biological family for the nourishment. And of course, if Allah SWT specifically mentioned the milk of the mother, right, to feed. So the milk of the mother, and if you know, in the future Musa salam is extremely strong. So Allah SWT is making him physically strong, spiritually strong. He's providing him with the worldly knowledge of how to deal with kings and things and all that. So best of both worlds, basically. This is a training that has been, this is a divine plan of Allah for Musa alayhi salam. Okay. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى وَآتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. As Musa alayhi salam grew older, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him hukman wa ilman, knowledge and wisdom. So he was a well-learned, okay, well-sought individual, intelligent, knowledgeable, knowledge about God, knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also wisdom, how to deal with things, okay? And this is, Allah says, كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. This is how we reward, okay, the doers of good. So Musa alayhi salam, Allah is saying he's a muhsin, he's a doer of good, he has good tarbiyah, he has good mannerism, and he's very just. And because he's very just, you know the next story, okay? وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينَ غَفْلَةٍ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. So what did he see? One day, he's grown up, he's a young man now. He's grown up. Fast forward. Of course, Quran only mentions the parts that are relevant to us, that are important to us, right? The parts of his story. So as he grows older, he sees, because he is a just man, with good tarbiyah, he sees two people fighting. And one person is the Coptics from the Egyptians, and one is from the Bani Israel. So what happens is that when he sees that, and this person complains, the Bani Israeli, he complains to him, and then what happens is, and he's saying this person is hurting me, or whatever the conflict was. What did he do? He slapped or punched the Egyptian. And because he's so strong, because of that one punch, the person died. Okay, so as this happened, Musa alayhi salam immediately realized his mistake. What did he say? قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Oh my God, this is an act of shaitan. Like, shaitan caused me to do this. He realized his mistake. إِنَّهُ عَدُوٌ مُضِلٌّ مُبِينٌ. He is a clear, misleading enemy. So he realized that the action that he did, he didn't be like, no, I did correct. I mean, this person deserved to die anyways. He was bad or anything. No, he took responsibility for his action. Okay, so another quality of someone who's been trained well, okay, who has learned the deen, who takes responsibility of their actions and realizes his mistake. And again, you have to realize that he also grew in a kingly manner, right? Like the kings, and those kings were very, very arrogant. Even when they were killing blatantly, they were killing people, they would not care. They're like, yeah, these people deserve to die. But Musa alayhi salam did not adopt those actions, and that's because of his tarbiyah, right? The upbringing that he received. Okay, and he was on his instinct, in his fitra. Each one of us has a moral compass, and what happens is, when we do something wrong, you feel it inside. And the more a person commits sins, the more that moral compass, it becomes more, irrelevant or on the side. So now, you don't care about. You have an inside voice, but you don't care about it anymore. Okay? So what did he say? قَالَ رَبِّي إِنِّي ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي. Oh Allah, I have wronged myself. I've done zulm on myself. Okay, I've done something wrong. Okay? فَغْفِرْ لِي. So forgive me. So immediately ask Allah's forgiveness. Okay? So as Musa alayhi salam asked Allah's forgiveness, okay, and he asked Allah, قَالَ رَبِّي بِمَا أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيَّ. Oh Allah, for all your favors upon me, I will not give me all your favors. I will never be on the side of, I will never support the wicked ones. And the next day he comes and he sees this guy again from the Bani Israel. He's still in trouble again. Now so he realizes that the troublemaker is the Bani Israeli, the Israeli is the troublemaker. So then he says to him, that I'm not going to I'm not going to help you anymore because you're the troublemaker. You caused the problem. You're the one. Okay. And this caused me, this led me to the action that I did yesterday. Okay. Then what happened after that is that people, they started talking about it. Of course, he's the adopted son of Firaun. Okay, he's not an any ordinary man. So people are talking now. Okay, and then saying that, and then he's hearing that he's going to be executed or killed because even Firaun has to save his face, right? Showing people, if my adopted son or someone related to me has done something like this, I'm so just. He would claim himself to be God, right? So he had to do certain things. So he started hearing this. So at this time, one of his well-wishers, okay, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ min aqsal madinati. So a man came, okay, for his well-wisher came from a furthest point of the city, and he said, "Qala ya Musa." Okay, so oh Musa, innal mala'a, the chiefs of that place, they want to execute you, they want to kill you. How about I advise you that you leave this place? So again, there's a plan of Allah. Allah had to make Musa alayhi salam leave this place for another thing, to build him more. Okay, so Musa alayhi salam, so first time, if you look, the first time they planned to kill Musa alayhi salam due to his birth year, right? The year that he was born in, that was the first time he was going to be. The second time that they're planning is when he has killed a man. Okay, so what did he do? Musa left the city in a state of fear and caution. Okay, قال ربي نجني من القوم الظالمين. Oh Allah, help me. And as you see, Musa alayhi salam, at all points, even when he made a mistake, he committed the murder, the killing of that person, or every moment he's making dua, he's connected with Allah. Okay, so he's someone with strong iman, who's connected with Allah, and also not just strong, he's strong iman, strong personality, just personality, and also strong and physically strong as well. And then where did he go? He went to a place called Madian. Okay, this is a place that he went, and then he kept asking for Allah's guidance. And as he was asking Allah's guidance, and here Musa salam is homeless. Okay, he doesn't know what's going to happen in the future. He doesn't know the place that he's going to. What if that place actually collaborates with Firaun and what if they report back about him? So he doesn't know where his only trust he put in Allah, and he just left. Okay, but he's in a state of starvation, he's in a state of homelessness, and he's there. And then when he came to Madian, okay, وجد عليه أمة من الناس. So he saw a group of people. They were watering they were watering their herds. They were feeding their sheep and their cattle, and he saw two women. So out of being the kind and generous person that Musa alayhi salam was, he approached the women, okay, and the women asked him, that he asked the women, like, why are you waiting? He's like, we're waiting because, and he saw women, and he probably saw that everyone else were men who were hurting, and they were the only two women, and they didn't have any male figure to actually physically help them out. So he felt bad, and he took their herd, and they watered, he took them, and they said that we only have a dad, and he's really old, so if you can assist us. So he assisted them, and then they went their way. Okay, and then what did he do? He went under a tree and sat down. فقال ربي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. This is a famous dua of Musa alayhi salam. He went and he sat down. He's like, oh Allah, I'm in need of anything that can come from you. So he didn't want a reward from the women who helped, be like, okay, tell your dad about me or something like that, or just like, or some kind of thank you. He helped them, and right away he left. He sat down and he made dua to Allah. Oh Allah, give, because right now he is in need, right? He doesn't have a place to stay, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have food, nothing. So next thing, these women, they go to their father, and they're very impressed with the character of this man. He's very modest. He doesn't engage in useless speech. He just helps them and he sincerely helps them. He doesn't really want anything back from them. So they are very, very impressed to see that, and they perhaps used to come every day and do this, and no one else was doing that to them. They're very, very impressed, and they go and they mention. So one of the two women came to him walking modestly, and she said, my father is inviting and inviting you so he may reward you for watering our animals. Okay. And when Musa alayhi salam came to this man, he went to the father, and the man, he told him all his story, how he escaped, who he was, how he escaped. The man said, قال لا تخف, do not fear. Okay. نجوت من القوم الظالمين, you're safe from, this is a safe place. This is a safe place. And then one of the daughters suggested, oh my father, how about you do this? Okay. This person, how about you hire him? What is he? Al-Qawiyul Amin. He has two great qualities. He's strong, like he knows his work, and on top, he's honest. So the two qualities, in fact, the scholars say these are two qualities people should look to hire people, and women should look when they're seeking to get married. Qawiyun and Amin. Okay, these are two qualities in a man, and these are two things. A pause here to elaborate on this. So Qawi is someone who's physically strong, capable, and knows his work. And look in the workplace. Sometimes you have people who know their job, they're very good at it, but they're not Amin. They're very arrogant, or they treat other badly, or they try to give a lot of their work to others, or dump it on them, and they act like very bossy and stuff like that. Or sometimes people are very good, but they're not good at their work. They're just good in general, and they're very good people, but they're not good at their actual. But this Musa alayhi salam, this woman described, and even for any woman who's looking to, sisters who are looking to for a spouse, these are the qualities they should look at. Someone who's strong, who can take care, okay, who can be maintainer, who can be a qawwam, qawi, qawwam, and at the same time, that person is sincere, loyal, honest. Okay, so these are the qualities that they see. And when the father sees that, the old man proposed, I wish to marry one of these daughters of mine, and provided the condition is that you're going to stay here for 8 years with me. So you're going to stay here for 8, or if it's possible to stay 10, I'm not going to put pressure on you, but you're going to stay with me. Okay, so you're going to stay with me and take care of my work, like this is basically taking care of the cattle and the herd, and what do you say? Whatever you wish to say. So Musa alayhi salam responded, قال ذلك بيني وبين. Okay, this is between you and me now, so sure, I'm going to do that. So Musa alayhi salam, in fact, picked a bigger number. Instead of 8, he stayed for 10 years, because Prophet asked Jibril alayhi salam, what did Musa alayhi salam choose? When he was getting to know the story of Musa, and Jibril alayhi salam told him that he chose the bigger, longer term. Okay, so he stayed there. And think of this, one who has been brought up in palaces and castles, and now he's becoming a shepherd. And a lot of the prophets of Allah were. So what does being a shepherd teach you, or taking care of the herd teach you? There's certain qualities that develop. Firstly, strength, discipline. Can the animals understand you? They can't. So you need a lot of patience to deal with that. So this is a part of the plan of Allah. And you look at Musa alayhi salam, he asked Allah, okay, so Allah, I want anything beneficial from you. So Allah gave him a house, Allah gave him a spouse, Allah gave him a job, okay, and took care of him in all this way. And Musa alayhi salam, after 10 years of grooming, Allah plans to take a great mission from Musa alayhi salam. Okay, and what was the great? So after that, فَلَمَّا قَضَى Musa al-ajala. So when he had finished his term, like 10 years he has spent taking care, he has, as he promised his father-in-law. Also another thing, a side note, it's a very side note, but there is no harm in staying with the girl's family. It's many of the cultures, they say it's a very bad thing for men to be staying. But I mean, look at in situations where there's only an old father, and he only has daughters. So there's no harm if the son-in-law goes and stays with them. But it's such a bad thing looked down in many of the cultures. And there is nothing wrong. Musa alayhi salam did that, right? So this was just aside from this. So now Musa alayhi salam, he's going back. He's finished the 10 years. He's going back, and he's in the valley, okay, of Madian, going back. And فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ. So when he came to it, okay, So firstly, Musa alayhi salam is going with his family. It's dark night. He's taking care of his family, and it's really dark. So he's like, oh, I see a light on a mountain. So as he's taking care of his family and he's going. So you see, when someone's serving their family, it's a khair, it's a good deed. Man taking care of his family, or women taking care of their family, it's service to Allah. So as he's taking care and he's looking for something warm to keep them warm, and he sees light. So he thinks maybe I can go get some fire and make them feel warm, so I can go and bring that. So when a person does khair towards his family, Allah opens more doors of khair. And what was the main thing? The main thing that happened here was the meeting of Allah, or meeting of Musa alayhi salam with his Rabb. So after all this, what was Allah's reward? That Allah gave Musa alayhi salam the prophethood. Okay? And then, Allah SWT asked him to throw his staff, and the staff turned into a snake. And, these are the signs that were given to Musa alayhi salam. But what was the summary of all of this? We're not going to go into Musa and Pharaoh. That's a whole different tangent. But we're looking at Musa alayhi salam's, the build-up of Musa alayhi salam's life. Okay? So when Musa alayhi salam met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him that one thing that he said in Surah At-Taha. It is mentioned, وَاسْتَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي. Oh Musa, you know why I did what I did? And in Surah Taha, actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Surah Taha, how the story is mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins by reminding Musa of his life. He says, remember, oh Musa, when you were born, there was a death warrant on your head. Then imagine you were separated from your mother. You can't even remember that time. You were too little to remember. You arrived at the doorsteps of Firaun, and that's where you grew up. You accidentally killed a man. You think all of this happening was for any reason? For no reason? And then because of killing, you had to flee Madian. You had to flee Egypt and come to Madian. And there you were fatigued. You were starving. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala arranged for you a family, a spouse, a place, and Allah trained you. And then you came to this valley back here. Why Musa? Because وَاسْتَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي. I wanted to select you for my service. So all of this that happened in Musa alayhi salam's life was because Allah wanted to choose him for his service. Allah wanted to groom him. And what was the big mission and task that he was going to give to Musa alayhi salam, as you guys know, was to go and talk to Firaun. And imagine if any random Bani Israeli came and went, would he even be allowed inside the palace? No. But because Firaun knew Musa, he grew up, so he was allowed. He was an adopted son, so he was allowed inside the palace. He knew the way of talking. He knew, and in Surah Ash-Shura, it shows the dialogue between Musa alayhi salam and Firaun, and how he addresses. He knows how to address the kings. Okay, he knows how their speech. He knows their mannerism. He knows their mindset, how those think. So Allah groomed Musa alayhi salam all this way, and Allah selected for his service. So all in all, Allah gave Musa alayhi salam the summary. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. Yeah, you can come here, sisters. You can some
Girls, if you guys want to just go in the middle, someone can sit on the couch. Yeah, yeah.
So, so all of these hardships of Musa alayhi salam's life was because Allah wanted to make Musa alayhi salam only for him, and make him strong, okay, physically even more stronger, spiritually stronger, okay, mentally stronger, because he went through a lot. He saw best of both worlds and worst of both worlds, right? He saw the best, like, good tarbiyah, good upbringing, and the palaces, the king life, the life of a king. He saw that, and then he saw the worst. What was the worst? He became a shepherd. And on the other hand, he saw how evil people can be, how manipulative people can be. So he saw best and worst of both the worlds. Okay. And then Allah prepared, this is how Allah prepares. So how can we, okay, now we come to the end, how can we become among people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses and selects for his work, right? So other than that, there were certain qualities and characteristics of Musa alayhi salam that were there in him that made him a chosen servant of Allah. Number one, knowledge of Allah and his deen. Okay, a clear sign that Allah had chosen is that Musa alayhi salam, he got a good upbringing from his family. Also, if you know another story in Surah Al-Kahf, it's mentioned a story of Musa alayhi salam where he, being the prophet, he learns from a person who's not a prophet. Okay, and he's so humble and he strives for knowledge. So, and from the hadith of the Prophet sallam, "Man yuridillah bihi khayra," whoever Allah wishes good for, yufaqihu fid deen, he gives him the knowledge of deen. So if any of us Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes good for, he opens the door of knowledge. So Musa alayhi salam had knowledge of Allah. And when a person has knowledge of Allah, that's how they can put things into perspective. Why things happen the way they happen? Because when you're connected with Allah, then you don't give up, then you don't become negative, and you don't become away, you don't go away from Allah in times, in moments of difficulties. Then dedication. Number two, what were the things about Musa alayhi salam? Ibadah. Okay, was worship of Allah. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he introduces himself in Surah Al-Taha to Musa alayhi salam, he says, "Innani ana Allahu," I am Allah, O Musa. La ilaha illa, there is no God except me. Okay, ana fa'budni, so worship me. Okay, wa aqim as-salata, so establish salah, pray salah. Okay, wali dhikri, and remember me. So Musa alayhi salam, he's reminded that he was a servant of Allah who worshipped him regardless of what he was in. Not when you feel good at everything is all good, you feel so positive, you want to be all like, no, in difficult and in easy times. Okay, and sometimes, and many times, people also connect with Allah in difficult moments, and when everything is going good, you forget Allah. Okay, but it's not like that. Everything, he was very grateful. He was always connected, and you saw as we went to the story, when he punched that man, he connected with Allah. Oh, Allah, forgive me. When he helped those women and he sat down, oh, Allah, give me some, reward me. I'm not asking reward from people. I ask a reward from you. Okay. And thirdly, the quality or the characteristic of Musa alayhi salam, that he was a man who acknowledged his mistakes and he went back he retreated to the truth immediately. Even though that person who kept committing, kept causing corruption was Israeli. He was from his own, but he didn't support him. He realized this guy, he's the troublemaker. And he manipulated me to do this yesterday, and now he wants me to do the same thing again. So he realized, if so sometimes people protect their own, and they think the others are the wrong, but he supported the truth, and he immediately realized his mistakes and he repented to Allah. So these are the qualities that we see. And number four, the quality that we see in Musa alayhi salam is extreme patience. Okay, patience in different things. And if you learn about the Bani Israel from different Surah Al-Baqarah, you will become impatient listening to all the things that they did and their actions that will make a person very angry. Like in one of the actions example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he caused the Bani Israel to be freed from Pharaoh. And when Musa alayhi salam, their own prophet, goes to get the book from Allah, what did the people do behind his back? They worship the calf. Like, can you imagine how angry that would derive a person or a prophet, that I'm going to get I'm going to receive revelation from Allah, and this is what you do behind the back, but still was very patient with his people. And Bani Israel gave a very hard time to Musa alayhi salam. And what we learned here, he was completely patient. And because of these qualities that developed in him, okay, it's a cycle. These qualities develop from Allah, and these qualities are the ones that were very appreciated by Allah. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him for this work. So inshallah, bismillah, sisters, learning this beautiful story of Musa Islam. Of course, there are many other parts, and there's so much more. There is so much more that we learn from his way of speech, from his personality, and most importantly, his connection with Allah as a servant of Allah. Okay, a strong servant of Allah is that we need to become like this. Okay, and for us, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose us, we do not know how much life that we have in this world. Yes, alhamdulillah, most of us are young, and we have this thing that, oh, you have more time, right? Well, we don't know. Musa alayhi salam was very young when all of these things happened to him, right? In fact, if he prophethood he received at 40, so he must have been about 30 or 20 something when he was exiled from Egypt, when he left Egypt. That's not that's a very young age. So things, you don't know how much life that you have left, so adopt these qualities. Connect yourself with the knowledge. Unless you know Allah, how do you know Allah? You know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His book. You surround yourself with righteous people, learn about, from the book, the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So connect yourself with the book of Allah, okay, with all the things that are happening in life, or a lot of commitments that you should make. Take out some time, okay, every week, okay, to connect with the book of Allah, okay. And when Allah wishes good for that person, He opens the doors for knowledge. So connect yourself with that. Okay, that will help you become a righteous person. Increase in your ibadah. Ramadan is coming, is the best time to train a person, to train ourselves. It's a training month for our soul. Okay, our soul and our body. Okay, and again, it's all connected. When you learn the book of Allah, you see yourself. It's like a mirror. You see yourself, you see your mistakes, you see the problems inside yourself more and others less. You see, and here, even despite all the things, and despite the most corrupt person in the life of Musa alayhi salam, the corrupt leader, he never blamed the leader, he blamed himself for all the mistakes. So only a person who really is connected with Allah, who is really knows, who learns the book of Allah, they see their own mistakes more. And that's how, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're here, and you're in a gathering of Allah's remembrance and knowledge. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. And how do you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts different acts of goodness from each one of us, is when we get more opportunities or more doors. So from one place you get in, for example, you get to go to another class, or you get to go know about another project of charity. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens more doors of khair for you, that means He's accepting, He's making a way for you. So be welcoming, okay, to these opportunities, and grab as much, okay, so we also become like, we follow the footpath, the pathways set by these prophets, inshallah, bismillah. Okay, so inshallah, to conclude this today's inshallah, we have a Ramadan halaqa. We will have a next halaqa that will be in the month of February. Yes. Oh, sorry. Next time. Okay. Okay, so we will have another halaqa, which will be based on specifically on Ramadan, inshallah, next month, February 20.
March.
No, not the workshop, the
Yes, the
halaqa.
halaqa will be February 27th, I believe.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. It's a last Saturday of. So it will be gathering, but we have a full on Ramadan workshop. So inshallah, bismillah, we have a Ramadan workshop coming up. It's in the month of March, and it's being held at a different location, and we will have groups, we'll have classes. So people will be put in different classrooms according to their age. And in this Ramadan workshop that we have, we will be spending a couple of hours going over different things. For example, the fiqh of fasting, or the etiquettes of fasting, do's and don'ts of fasting, the du'as in the month of Ramadan, how the month of Ramadan, the importance of the month of Ramadan, how the month of Ramadan is divided into three portions, three sections. Then a day in the life of Rasulullah, how he spent his day of in Ramadan, how he started his day and how he ended his day. Then, for example, importance of Laylatul Qadr, and then how to end Ramadan, and what to do on the day of Eid. Right? A lot of us are all full, and then we sometimes don't know what the sunnah things to do on the day of Eid, what is the purpose of Eid, and how you should celebrate Eid, and how you make Eid good for your children as well. Okay, so all of these things, and there will be separate ladies program in Urdu. So any of the ladies that are or anyone who's interested to learn in Urdu will have a separate class for them as well. And then for sisters and brothers of different ages, so ages 7 and up. So from young kids to older teenage or 20s or whoever, they all can join. We'll have various classes. So inshallah, this Ramadan workshop is coming on March 9th. It's a Saturday, and it's a couple of hours from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So inshallah, you guys can take these flyers, and also I do weekly tafsir classes. So if anyone would like to join, those are the flyers for that
Yes.
as well.
With Hanan, so she won't let it go because she wants to give it to everyone.
So
but-
whoever would like this for the weekly tafsir class, we're on Surah Al-Baqarah. We're going on the chronological order of the Quran. So anyone would like to join that
It
as
happens
well.
every Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Inshallah. It is also live stream on Zoom. So if you are interested, you can of course collect the link from us. But we encourage, because it's a gathering of Allah, that more and more people join in person, inshallah.
Yeah, and especially for the Ramadan workshop, because it's literally, I think, a day or two before Ramadan, depends on when Ramadan starts. So have you prepared, much prepared, unless otherwise this is ayyam ma'duda. These are few days that are going to come and go, and we will not know how to reap benefit out of it, inshallah. So inshallah, these both flyers are there, and we will end our our reminder session. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Anyone would like to give any reflection based on anything from the life of Musa alayhi salam, or something that was really, yes.
Okay, so the most important thing that I learned was that Prophet Musa, he always prayed towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever he was in trouble, whenever he had anything, even during his goodness, even during his bad times. So whenever you're going through a time of stress or worry, you should always your first response should be to go to Allah.
Yeah, I was saying for the wives, because the wife of Firaun, she was the one who convinced Firaun to take that the son of Bani Israel. So this was one which I heard in the class I was taking with Farat Hashmi. So she shared this, and that a wife can convince her husband to do things like unimaginable things. So we all, those who are married, have the power here to like convince their husbands to do good things and bad things as well. So we should use our power, this power, to convince our husband in the right direction.
Yes.
Like we can convince them to go for a holiday or somewhere vacation, and we can convince them to like spend in Allah's way. Yeah. So we should really use this power in the right direction.
Yeah, women have a special power,
Yeah.
and because women are emotional in nature, and that's a good thing, right? And men, you can easily, like, a lot of the men, especially when women start crying, they become like, oh my God. And that's something, and that's so true. That's like the power Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made men and women differently, right? And that's how they complement each other, right? So even the most toughest man at that moment could not say no to his wife, and then from Allah's plan that happened. Anyone else would like to share?
I think I can share, inshallah, from the running around and everything that I was able to hear. I think something that I really like about Musa alayhi salam, as we learn about him as well, is even though he's going through lots of difficulty, he's always looking at people around. And I think that's one of the qualities of most prophets that we see, that even though they're going through tough times, they're always looking to help others. And I think that's how Allah's help comes too, that if you were going through a tough time, Allah says, when you help other with that similar problem or task, Allah helps you. So I think that was a really nice quality of Musa alayhi salam.
There's one thing that I'd like to
Yes.
add. I think from this entire story, what we learned that Musa had a lot of patience, like tremendous amount of patience, and also his faith in Allah. But every time he was in trouble, he turned back to Allah, and Allah always like helped him out and got the outcome to the particular situation. So I guess we all must have that
that strong faith in Allah that whatever trials or tribulations we are going through, inshallah, the Path will, maybe now, maybe not now, maybe later, maybe like later than that as well, but inshallah, the Path will make it easy for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and the tremendous amount of patience. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He brought up him to Mount Tur, that's when He gave him a whole flashback of his life. Remember, Musa, this happened with you 10 years ago? This is why it happened. Remember? This is why sometimes it might even take 10 years, 20 years for us to realize that things that are happening now, and we're going to be so grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it must have happened in the past too with each one of us, and maybe now we might not. So for that, a person really requires tawakkul and patience, like strong trust in Allah, whatever is happening, and patience. Right? Human beings are, they very, very impatient. Okay, inshallah, we'll enter. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair to everyone who joined on Zoom as well. Inshallah.
So the games are upstairs. They have arranged